Brian.
Diane, let's bring you back. We've got so much we'd like to talk about in today's news. It's always a problem to fit it in with available time, but let's bring you back. And of course, the subject is really the attack on children's minds by this rules-based international order group.
Yes, that's right. And following up on what I just covered in my previous segment, ending with Julian Huxley, UNESCO, which, as I said, he founded with that document talking about population control and putting man second, and the issue of saying diversity versus the one world order, like what is actually going on there. But anyway, UNESCO is known as, they call themselves the United Nations Specialized Agency for Education. And to go along with Agenda 2030, they also have Education 2030, which is what I'm going to focus on here in just a little bit more. They wrote this document called the Education for Sustainable Development, a Roadmap. And this is, I think, around 80 pages. Again, as I do for all of our viewers normally, I read it so you don't have to. And what it talks about in specifically is basically how we're going to educate people, children, and so on in the schools and libraries on how to become sustainable development citizens. In the introduction to it, we have Stefania Giannini, who was the Assistant Director of UNESCO for Education. She said that the so-called COVID-19 pandemic that spread across the planet in 2020 is not only a global health crisis, it is a crisis affecting every aspect of our lives, and one that has revealed, she had a misspelling there, reveled, the fragility of our interdependence with nature. Again, nature being more important than us. We have learned that as forests are destroyed, not only are wild animals endangered and ecosystems weakened, but also humans become exposed to unknown infectious agents that can threaten their lives. Now, how all that exactly ties in with a so-called deadly virus, I'm not sure. But anyway, SDG target 4.7 of sustainable development and global citizenship is considered to be a very major target within one of the biggest SDG goals, which is education. And this one says that by 2030, so we've only got less than 5 years left now for this, ensure that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and nonviolence. It's not exactly what we're seeing in the world right now. Global citizenship and appreciation of cultural diversity, there's that word again, and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. So we can see in here, again, in part of the 80-page report, we have the Sustainable Development Goal Wheel, which we have shown before. And this shows specifically how each of the 17 SDGs ties in directly to education. So it's not just SDG 4, it's all of them. And you can look at that in more detail. The link will be in the show notes for that. So when I'm talking specifically about libraries and reading, which of course is one of my loves of my life, we have a book club from the UN, which is the Sustainable Development Goal Book Club, which is part of SDG 17, Partnerships for the Goals. And so I want to talk here specifically about IFLA in relation to reading and libraries. So IFLA is the International Association or Federation for Library Associations and Institutions. I know this organization well because it's sort of the parent organization for all worldwide library associations, including SILIP here in the UK, which I used to be a member of before I was exiled from there, as well as the American Library Association, which I used to belong to. And they just held their annual conference, the World Library and Information Congress, last month. So here is a clip from the president of IFLA. Her name is Vicky McDonald. She's a librarian from Australia, and the conference was held in Astana, Kazakhstan.
Please strengthen our voice. Since our last Congress in Rotterdam in 2023, there has been significant changes in our world. The influence of geopolitical forces is impacting every corner of the world. It's impacting our daily work. And now, perhaps more than any other time in almost 100 years at IFLA, as a profession, we need to be more vocal about the contributions that we can make to our respective communities. We need to be searching for radical solutions and use our collective voice to drive better outcomes for our communities, but also at a global level. One of IFLA's strengths is our recognition as a global voice for libraries. But we can only credibly engage in spaces like the United Nations and UNESCO if we can show that this voice truly represents a field that is constantly striving to.
So we can see here Vicky McDonald making claims, as IFLA has done for years, about it being a globalist organization and promoting the global agenda. I was a member of the Education and Training Committee, as an elected member of the committee up until last year when I resigned from the organization. It's also interesting to note that Vicky McDonald was president in 2024, leading up to the 2024 IFLA conference. They decided to withdraw from holding the conference in Dubai because Dubai was not seen as being an inclusive place for the LGBT community, never mind that they were excluding a large part of the world by excluding that part of the world. Anyway, IFLA just published a book, or one of the groups of IFLA, which focuses on sustainable development goals, published this book in June this year called Libraries Driving Education for Sustainable Development. This is over 400 pages telling you exactly how libraries of all types can promote sustainable development education. Here is also a poster that is meant to be placed in school libraries around the world, which is the IFLA UNESCO School Library Manifesto 2025. So if you are near a school library or have children in school libraries, take a look at this and see if you can spot this poster anywhere. I'd be interested to hear if you do find it. A group that has been working for years within IFLA has created this resource called Library Map of the World, which shows exactly which sustainable development goals are being met and in which ways and by which countries and what they're doing. So if we drill down, as I did here, to SDG 4, which again is quality education, we see that there are 45 stories in 31 countries explaining exactly how these are being implemented in libraries around the world. So we have a video here that I would like to just show quickly from Ukraine. This is called SDG Stories, and it talks about here which sustainable development goals they are meeting. And we see here that a children's library in Ukraine is empowering children to tackle the environment and its issues. Children Looking Happy, their Garbage Hero project, helps families learn about recycling while having fun, waste management. Children apply their knowledge during interactive activities at the library, online, and in their homes. And what else are they doing here? Well, since 3,000 children since 2016 between ages 4 and 15 have taken part. 70% of families have reported improved attitudes and recycling habits. And there are more stories available from around the world on the Library Map of the World and these SDG stories. So we can see exactly how they're doing it. And I would imagine that Ukraine has more to worry about at this point in time than how much the children are learning to recycle. But the part of the bigger agenda, of course, with population control, we see things around the LGBT community and the promotion of deviant sexual behaviors, pedophilia. Here's an example from 2023 when the Daily Mail reported about a book called Granddad's Pride. They reported to the library that they weren't happy about it, and the nursery agreed to withdraw the book from the lessons. This book is called Granddad's Pride. As I said, it's got another book which is related to it by the same author called Granddad's Camper. So there's the cover of the book, and I will talk about this book more in extra because I actually own a copy of it, and I've looked at the contents quite a bit. I'm writing an article about it. But here's just some of the images we see here. For example, MAP, which is shown as a map, but it could also be an abbreviation potentially for minor attracted persons. We see the slogan, love is love is love, which is used by certain pedophilic communities and minor attracted people, as they call them. And we see here two men wearing bondage gear, fetish gear, talking about all we need is love, and it's all about love and inclusion, and it's all wonderful. So again, we'll talk about this book more in extra, but I just wanted to show that this is an example of how we are putting this agenda around population control and control of children's minds directly into the hands of the children and the libraries and the schools, Brian.
Diane, thank you very much. Really important to expose this so that parents, wherever you are, can see it. And of course, when you see it, you can challenge it and fight it. But it's obvious that the minds of children are being targeted by this pernicious material. And the aim is to break down family life, is to break down proper relationships between men and women themselves. So very, very dangerous stuff. And to see libraries being used as a weapon on a global basis is truly horrific. But we'll discuss it a little bit more in extra time.